Hey, Con 130, welcome to week 8. I hope you guys are doing really well, and I've enjoyed seeing your icons and seeing your creativity with those. So good job. This week you'll have the opportunity to make those even better. But before we go into that, I'm going to go ahead and start with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for this opportunity we have to come together as a class online and to learn new things and to step out of our comfort zones and to um, improve upon the things that we have already created. We're grateful to um, be a part of this university and to fill of thy spirit um, throughout our work. And Father, I ask a special blessing to please be with the students at this time with anything that they may be struggling with. Please bless them, that they may be guided if they're making any important decisions in their lives. And if they're going through a hard time, please comfort them. And Father, we're so grateful for thy love and all the opportunities that we have to grow and progress each and every day. And Father, please be with the students as well as they improve upon their projects and work on school and work and family life, and help them to continue to find balance. And we're so grateful for thy gospel and how we can learn of thee and feel close to thee. How grateful we are for thy Son, Jesus Christ, and for his sacrifice for us that we may become better and progress. And we love thee and are grateful for all the wonderful blessings thou gives us. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, so this week's quote I wanted to share. It's on unity, and it's by Sister Bonnie Oscar. And she said, "We must stop concentrating on our differences and look for what we have in common. Then we begin to realize our greatest potential and achieve the greatest good in this world." And I love that quote and how important it shows how important unity is. And I feel like we have so much potential, and um, God knows what we're capable of, and how important that unity is. And I think once we realize of the things that we have in common with those around us, we become more understandable. We're more patient and loving towards others, and we are more inspired when we're unified with others. We're more inspired to serve them and to include them in our prayers. So um, I really really love that quote, because we do have so much potential, and Heavenly Father has a wonderful work for us. So, and I hope with this going along with the theme of unity, thinking about our critiquing each other's work and building each other up in the class, and we're all unified in this. A lot of most of us are new to these programs and things, so um, I hope you guys can feel that this message sends a greater sense of unity in our class. So anyway, I say that in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. And now I want to go over week 8 and show a couple things that I wanted to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. All right. So before I go into week 8, I do just want to comment on a few things just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So when we're in our Facebook group, just so that you know where to post everything, because I know there was some confusion. You want to make sure that you post things to you make sure you post your projects to the icon set draft critiques, or any time it says draft critiques, you post it. You definitely post it here. That's a requirement. And then if you want my feedback, you can post it here for my critique when you see my picture there. So that's optional. But the background with the draft critiques, that is required. So you want to make sure to do that so that you can participate. And speaking of, let's go ahead and look at the critique report. Now, there's a couple things that I wanted to touch base on this. You want to make sure, so who you critiqued, at least 2 or more, and then you want to make sure that you participate in. You want to make sure to participate in at least 3 days, and those days need to be different. So 3 different days. Okay, and then you have your draw over, at least 1, and who critiques you. Now remember, my critique does count as that, but you want to make sure you want to post soon enough. I mean, it's the deadline is the Saturday at 11 p.m., but you want to post soon enough that you get critiques. And then when you explain how you helped, go ahead and explain about like what you changed in your project after receiving the feedback. And don't just copy and paste what they said, what your peer said. Let me know what you changed. What did you change about your project on that? Okay. So we're going into iLearn, and it's week 8. Now, I want to touch, before I go into the actual project, I want to touch base on the project report itself. Now, one thing is when you turn in your rough draft, you always turn in part 1. When you turn in your project, your final project, you need to turn in both part 1 and part 2. So it needs to be both. So completed part 1 and part 2. So, and then like I said, part 2 can be blank when you turn this in. So when you turn the draft in. So yeah, so you want to make sure part 1 and 2 for the final project. And then let's see. Yeah, like sketches need to be hand drawn. Make sure you follow those instructions for what project you're working on. And then take a picture and put it in there. And you don't have to worry about typography this time around. And yeah, so go ahead and go through that. And then let's go into the icon set. And if you guys have any questions about the requirements for that, just send me an email, let me know. But yeah, continue posting your questions and participation in Facebook. That's going really well, so keep that up. Okay, so now we're in the icon set final. And since you guys have already started your projects, I'm going to kind of touch base a little bit on the minimum expectations. So you want to obviously use Illustrator, and then 4 to 6 icons, no symbols, and that means like no symbols that you can create on a keyboard. You want to make sure that this is all your original work and that you can create from scratch. So no symbols like the $sign, the pound sign, or the ampersand or at, things like that. Okay, and then all original work. You want to make sure that it doesn't like, you can get inspiration from the icons that you see, but you do want to make sure that it is your own original work. So let's see. So like each icon communicates a single message. Okay, so that means it's like if you come into here, you have, there's a whale and a turtle and a starfish and jellyfish, stingray, and crab, right? So every icon is its own separate, in this case, like ocean themed animals, or, and so you want to make sure that each icon has its own identity, basically. And then you need to make sure to have an overall theme. Like I said, this is like the ocean, and I can give some more examples. So each icon communicates a single message. It's its own thing, like with the campsite, or the camping theme, but each icon is its own thing. And then set of icons are consistently designed. And there's a lot of ways that you can go about this, and I'll show you some examples. So if you see this, um, these instruments, the artist decided to do like eyeballs. So they're consistently designed. They're also consistently designed in the shadow that they created. And so if you can see this kind of like shadow right here, and you can also see it right here and there. So there's a lot of nice repetitions right here and there, and on the eye, and then on the actual object. So there's a lot of ways that you can bring in that consistency, bring in that unity to your icons, and you can see kind of like the little half circle here to make it look a little shiny. And then if you look at the camping one, all the strokes are the same. The stroke is the same size throughout the whole thing. So you can see how, you know, the thickness of the stroke is the same. They changed it up with the colors, so um, that's always fun. And then let's see. I want to show you some more examples of how you can consistently design your icons. All right, so here's an example of some past students, and you can see how, oops, let's see. Okay, so with this top left one, the theme is, you know, working out and or running a marathon or something like that. But you see how they incorporated the shadows, the color scheme matches, the, you know, the blue and the green all work well together, and the strokes are all the same. And they each, yeah, have the shadow. They're all in boxes, the gray boxes, the outline. So that's looks really great. And going along with the boxes, the one right below it has kind of like a summer theme with the colors work really well together, and um, each, you know, each of the icons are its own thing. And then check out this space one, and you can see how there's the shadows, and look how simplified. So even like with the space things, there's a lot of things that a lot of detail that you could put in. And that's the thing with icons, is that you don't want to put too much detail in. Okay. And you want to, let's see, you want to you want it to be simplified and clean. That's kind of what icons are, is that they don't have a lot of little detail. It's just it's really, really simplified. So that looks great. And then if you come down here, you can see how unified they are with like the circles, and then they have the icons in the center, and then the fun dots that go all around. So there's a lot of things that unify these icons. And let me show you a few more examples. So we have our Pinterest page, and let me show you where you can access this. So we're in iLearn week 8 icon set final, and then we have our Pinterest examples, and that shows you the past students' work. And then you have oh, you know what? Past students' work is right here, and that is our COM 130 board. And then these are some other examples that I'll show you in a little bit. So if you look at our, you can kind of get some ideas of what some past students have done. And before I go into that, I want to go into the last: no text, gradients, drop shadows, pixels, or raster effects. So no text for this project. Gradients, be careful with those. Avoid, so you don't want to use any gradients. No colors that go, you know, from dark to going into light, and then no drop shadows. And what I mean by that is that you need to create your own shadow. So if you look at this, there's, you know, some shadows here. There's no drop shadows. And for example, like with this student, they created their own shadow. Because I think in Illustrator, there's a thing that you can add a drop shadow. So don't do that. This needs to be all, you create everything. So This is a good idea for a shadow if you're wanting to include something a little bit more in your icons, a little bit a way to unify it and a way to make it look a little bit more professional is that you can have these shadows that go off of your icons. Um, and the student even uh, did the the different lighting of the colors too throughout each of the suites design set. Okay, so avoid no drop shadows and pixels, no pixels, and no raster effects. So the reason why you don't want to do raster, you want to do vector because you can size it to be as large or as small as you want. You can make it really, really, really small, and an icon that fits on a phone or something, or you can blow it up to a billboard. So it's really, really cool. And you guys have seen icons everywhere. We see them on a daily basis. When I went to a Walgreens the other day, and I was like, oh, there's icons kind of everywhere on the signs, and there's icons in the logos and street signs and ads, billboards, websites, everywhere. They're everywhere. So it's gonna be really fun to do, fun project. All right, now, so you can see how each each icon is its own thing, but it belongs to a set, a theme. And then let's see. Okay, so I'm going to just give you some examples, more examples. Like this student chose transportation, and there's the different modes of transportation, but their color scheme is blue, and their strokes are all similar. And then this was one of my favorites from last semester. They decided to choose The Office. If you guys have seen The Office, movies or characters from a TV show or movies. So that was really fun. But you see how simplified all of the icons are. And that's another good one. So, and there's so many ways that you can make your icons look even more professional, give it even more little little more details and things like that. So if you look at this, the student created the shapes and stuck with 3 colors, and you can see how they're all very consistently designed. And then she added the rounded off squares to put in the icons, and added so if you can see, she actually created her own shadows. So even it looks like a dropped shadow, but I could tell that it was created by her, by that student. So there's so many different examples that you can do. And let's look into more examples over here. Let's see. So you can kind of scroll around, get your creative juices flowing a little bit. And if you look here at this example, you can see, it's the design tools like painting and drawing and art tools. So if you look, you can see that shadow that they created, and also you see these like a line and a little break in the line, and then there's the rest of it, and you can see that throughout each of the icons, and that really unifies it. So it looks really, really great. So, let's see. Yeah, so I would suggest going through the examples, seeing how you can incorporate even more ways that you can unify your icons, okay? So let's look at, so with the final project, the icon set, on Wednesday, you are going to do you're going to finish up commenting and critiquing your fellow classmates, and you're going to turn in your critique report. And then on Saturday, your icon set final is due. And then that you want to turn in your project report, both part 1 and 2, like I mentioned, and make sure you thoroughly explain the target audience appeal, main design decisions, the design analysis. So I want to read your explanations of all of that. And then you're going to turn your project report, part 1 and 2, as a PDF in iLearn. And then don't forget to turn in your final project, your icon set, as a PDF, okay? And then this is how the points are allocated if you have any questions about that. And go over the examples to see how you can improve. And I look forward to seeing all of your, let's see, here we go. I look forward to seeing all of your icon sets, your final draft for your sets. I really look forward to that. So if you guys have any questions or if you need any help, don't forget to sign up for a tutor, and you can meet with me in my office hours. And I look forward to seeing your work. So keep up the great work. Bye, guys.